All right, so I'm going to be talking about Christianity in India and Nepal. I know I probably don't look like a Nepali, so I'm definitely the Indian part. It's going to be a short quiz, so it's 3 a.m. time for all the students. Now, this is a very light-hearted one. I'm following Prof. Sandifer when he did the quiz on William Tyndale. So these are 4 questions. Whoever gets all of them correct, come to me afterwards, I'll give you an Indian sweet. And that's on Saturday, so not yet. It's not yet, please. Again, I'll say the options. Which option you think is right, raise your hand. All right? So the first question, which part of India does this attire originate from? Who thinks it's from the South India? Raise your hand. All right. Okay. Who thinks it's from the northeast of India? All right, so it is of South India, and the guy is not wearing a skirt. I'm not wearing a skirt. It's a men's attire. All right. So the second question: who brought the gospel to India according to tradition? Who thinks it's A? William Carey. I still don't get it. Oh yeah. Oh right. So the first option. Who thinks it's the first option? William Carey. Oh, okay. Okay. Who thinks it's the second option? Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah, it is Apostle Thomas. According to tradition, he came in the 52nd AD. I'll talk about him later as well. So, question number 3: the hymn "I Have Decided to Follow Jesus" was written by an Indian author. Who thinks it's true? Raise your hand. Hey, don't scream it out. And who thinks it's the second option? So it is A. Okay, not A. It's the first option. Is written by Sadhu Sundar Singh. It's about a persecuted Christian in Assam. He actually was, his whole family was at the stake and they were killing each member. And he said the phrase, "I have decided to follow Jesus, no turning back," every time they were killing each of his members. After his death, the whole city turned to Christ. So that's the story behind this hymn. Again, the same issue is here in this slide. Which Asian country has the largest Christian population? It might be a trick question. Who thinks it's the first option? India. Oh, who thinks it's option 2? Philippines. Adam Day is right. It's Philippines. So it was trick because I said it was a trick. It wasn't really a trick. Whoever got all of them correct, just come to me afterwards. Did anyone get it correct? All? Okay. 4? No, you guys didn't. So I know. All right. So early church history. Like I said, the tradition is that St. Thomas came to India in 52 AD. He came to the region that is, okay, let me show this. So he came to this area, which is known as the Malabar region, Malabar trade route. He came in 52 AD, and he developed 7 churches. And there's even a quote later by Pope Leo VIII in 1886 affirming his origin. So this church has a lot of Syrian Christian tradition. So the book here has Syrian text of the liturgy they actually use in the church. So it follows tradition since the 1st century. Now the issue with this church is a caste-based church. So this church was it's only for the high caste Indians. So it's a biological growth church. They don't proselytize. They don't go outside. They don't preach the gospel. So it's just a group of people that keep on biologically growing. And because of this, Christian work didn't travel throughout all of India. So this whole area was never evangelized in the 1st century. It only happened again when the Catholic mission started. So the first was the Franciscans, the order of St. Francis of Assisi. They came in the 13th century to Bombay, which is above that Malabar coast, and they had problems. They had problems from Muslim traders, so they were killed, and they actually went back. And it's once again when the Portuguese came in 1498, it is Vasco da Gama who came to the Malabar coastline. and he did not face any troubles this time. So that's why Portuguese started coming more often. They came to that same area more often, and when they were coming with more ships, they brought priests with them for their own spiritual needs, and also these priests went along to preach the gospel. And one of those is Francis Xavier. He's a Jesuit missionary. He came in 1542. He's different to the ones before, because all the ones before this, the Catholic or the traditional or the apostolic tradition in a sense, were preaching to the higher caste, whereas Francis Xavier was preaching to the lower caste. It's said that he's baptized over 30,000 people in a very short period of time, and he did all this baptism in Goa, just above the Malabar coastline. So you can see the Christianity in India somewhat growing towards the west, and this even grew further with the inter-religious dialogue. So in the Mughal Empire, which is the biggest Indian empire, it was from the 15th century to the 18th century. One of the kings, Akbar, was open to religious dialogue. So in this picture, you can see 3 Jesuit priests coming with a polyglot Bible, which has the Greek New Testament, Septuagint, Latin Vulgate, and I'm missing one. Hebrew in that, and it was a gift to the king. So and on the left you can see how they're all dialoguing. So you have Muslims, you have Hindus, you have Christians. They're all dialoguing and having open discussions, which is not quite common nowadays. But this was how it was. But despite all of this, this was still among the high people, high caste, intellectual people. It didn't really get all the way down, unlike Francis Xavier. It's only when the Protestant missions happened. So I'm pretty sure you guys know William Carey. He is known as the father of modern mission. He came to Serampore, which is in the east, and in 1793, and he translated the Bibles into 6 languages and partially in 29 other languages. And he opened schools for, he opened schools and printing presses. But he started the movement, and the biggest movement happened in 19th century, which is I think where most of the current day generation Christians can trace their history back to. I can trace my history back to this mass movement, where most lower caste or considered untouchable people were converted and to believers of Christ. And northeastern converts, so this is Kipgen's area. The Baptists and the Presbyterians also came in the 19th century, and they helped with the local education and social services. Yeah. But despite the gospel and the change in hearts towards Christ, there was still intercaste conflicts. So in church, you could see that high caste people were given more opportunity to lead the service and so forth, and low caste people were asked to sit down and await. In communion, the high caste people were asked to go first in communion, low caste second. Even in burial, the high caste people were given a separate location, low caste people a separate location. So that's why the Anglican Church really tried a lot to change this. One of the ways is actually seen in my name. I don't have a surname. Your surname is supposed to show your caste. So that was one way that they showed it. We're all one under Christ. We don't have any distinction between us. We're all the same people. So the church above was the dedication of the Church of South India. That was in 1947. And this is a Baptist church, if I'm not wrong, in Manipur. Now, the Christianity's history in Nepal. Again, the Catholic presence also came to Nepal, but there was a lot more rejection from it because the king in 1769 didn't want them. He actually expelled them because he didn't want the English influence, and he was a devout Hindu. So, but during this time, William Carey did translate the first Nepali New Testament in 1821. And because of this, many Indians went to Nepal, and they did get dispelled because of their work, but they still continued to work within this system, and they eventually came back to India, and they worked with British missionaries to create the first Nepali Bible in 1914. But in 1960, a further persecution happened. There's a law that states that those who convert a Hindu have 5 years imprisonment, and also the churches were being burnt, the Bibles were being burnt as well. A lot of persecution happened during this time period. But in 1990, there was a nationwide protest for democracy, and things started to change. Nepal today is one of the fastest growing churches. You can see from the figures that since 1990, you can see how the incline has happened so quickly. And this is all because of personal evangelism. Women play a very big role in this, but still the law remains same, 5 years imprisonment, and even 1 year imprisonment for the person who is converted. So I have 4 prayer points that are stated as 1 each. I think I must have been really tired when I made the slides. So it's all these prayer points typically are for India and Nepal, but other than the 3rd point, which is just for India with caste division. So please pray for these things for India and Nepal. Thank you very much.